Okay, we're jumping in with some major breaking news. That long simmering conflict between the US and Iran, it looks like it's just exploded. We're getting reports that American military jets have been shot down. So we're going to break down everything we know right now, what happened, the immediate fallout, and what this could mean for a region that's already on a knife's edge.
So here's the headline, and there's really no other way to put it. We're hearing that Iran has downed 2 U.S. military aircraft in what appear to be separate attacks. This is a huge deal. It's the first time American planes have been brought down in this conflict, and it really signals a dangerous and frankly scary new phase.
And the reaction from the White House? Just as blunt. When a reporter from NBC News asked if this whole incident would get in the way of negotiations with Iran, President Trump's reply was just, wow. He said, no, not at all. No, it's war. I mean, that is a chilling statement that really sets the tone for everything we're about to discuss.
All right, let's dig into the details of these attacks. How exactly did 2 advanced American military jets get taken down? Let's break it down.
You know, this didn't just happen out of the blue. This conflict has been going on for about 5 weeks now. But the timing here is absolutely critical. Think about this. Just 2 days ago, on April 2nd, President Trump announced that the U.S. had, quote, decimated Iran. And now today, April 4th, we see this. It feels like a direct and obviously violent answer to that statement.
So, it's really important to get this straight. We're talking about 2 separate incidents. The first one involves an F-15E Strike Eagle. Iranian state media is confirming they shot it down over Iran. The second is an A-10 attack plane. For this one, a U.S. official speaking anonymously confirmed it was hit and then crashed into the Persian Gulf.
And of course, the immediate question is about the people, the American crews. What we know so far is that one of the pilots from the F-15E has been rescued, which is good news, but their crewmate is still missing and there's a search and rescue operation going on right now. As for the A-10 crew, well, right now their status is completely unknown. A lot of uncertainty there.
Okay, so now let's shift gears and look at the official response from the U.S. How is Washington handling this? I mean, this is a pretty unprecedented situation. And again, you have to look at the context. This quote, this was the president's message just 2 days ago. A message of total victory. And now, talk about whiplash. This declaration is just hanging out there while the Pentagon is scrambling to figure out what to do about 2 lost planes and missing service members.
But here's where it gets interesting. Despite the president's very public comments, the official channels have been completely silent. We've heard nothing public from the White House, nothing from the Pentagon. The only official thing we know has happened is that behind the scenes, the Pentagon has notified the House Armed Services Committee. That tells you they're taking this incredibly seriously internally, even if they're not talking about it publicly.
And this really gets to the core of the mixed messages coming out of the administration. On one hand, you have the president saying it's war, but then in almost the same breath, he says this incident won't affect negotiations with Iran. So, which is it? You can't blame people for being confused. Is it war, or is it time for talks?
All right, let's zoom out for a second, because what we're learning is that the downing of these U.S. jets wasn't some isolated event. Not at all. It seems to have been part of a much bigger, coordinated wave of attacks all across the Middle East.
And when you look at the map, the scale of this is just staggering. It looks like Iran hit targets all over the region. We're talking an oil refinery and a desalination plant in Kuwait. That's a huge deal for their fresh water. Saudi Arabia says it shot down Iranian drones. Israel is reporting incoming missiles. The UAE had to shut down a gas field. This was way bigger than just the American jets. This was a massive multi-front attack.
And, you know, we have to talk about the human cost of this 5-week conflict because it's just devastating. Look at these numbers. Over 1,900 fatalities in Iran, more than 1,300 in Lebanon, and the numbers keep climbing in Israel, the Gulf states, and for U.S. service members too. This is the tragic reality of what's happening on the ground.
So beyond the terrible human and military costs, there's a huge economic side to all of this. And it really all comes down to one single, incredibly critical spot on the map.
And that spot is the Strait of Hormuz. You can think of it as the world's energy jugular. It's this tiny little waterway, but something like a fifth, 20% of all the world's oil and natural gas flows through it in peacetime. The fact that Iran can control or threaten this passage gives it just an incredible amount of leverage. And here's how this affects you and me and pretty much everyone. Since this conflict started and traffic through the strait was restricted, the price of Brent crude oil has just shot up. We're talking over 50%. It's now sitting at around $109 a barrel. And of course, when oil gets more expensive, so does everything else, from the gas in your car to the food at the grocery store.
Now, that 20% figure might not sound like a crazy high number, but you have to understand that represents an absolutely massive amount of energy that the entire global economy relies on day in and day out. Being able to threaten that supply, well, that's a powerful card for Iran to hold.
So, okay, the military stakes are sky high, the political situation is a mess, and the global economy is feeling the pressure. The big question is, what happens next? What should we all be looking out for?
Well, over the next 24 hours, there are 3 key things to keep an eye on. First, and most importantly, that search and rescue operation for the missing U.S. service member. That's going to be the top priority. Second, the diplomatic front. The UN Security Council is scheduled to meet on Saturday. And third, how will U.S. allies in the region, think Israel, the Gulf states, react? We'll be watching for their response.
And all of this leaves us with one massive, lingering question. We're hearing the word war, yet we're also told that the door to negotiations isn't closed. So as things escalate, as the economic pressure builds, is there still a path for diplomacy to pull everyone back from the edge? Or is a much wider, much more dangerous war now simply inevitable?